Hey, it's Batsy. Welcome to what is, at least for now, going to be the final video in the VLaD tournament review series. And this video is going to be the top 10 losers runs in VLaD history. Some of these have been on the standout performance list, some of them have not. I'll say one thing that kind of differentiates whether or not I also included it on the standout performance list is if it was expected. For example, there's a couple runs on here, including our first place pick, that were made by really good players who I'd say I almost expected to be able to pull that off, whereas the standout performances were things that surprised me when I saw them. So we'll get into this list right now with our honorable mentions. So as for our honorable mentions, even though these didn't make the actual top 10 list, there's still a lot to talk about right here. So 3 of these are going to be in pairs because there are 2 players who made similar runs at the same tournament. So the first pair we'll look at will be Gray, who's also known as I'm Dan Fox nowadays, and Indestructible Mushu, who is commonly known as Triple D at the Mario Kart tournaments, but in the Smash tournaments entered as Indestructible Mushu. And they made runs at Daisy for Queen 2019 that were pretty impressive. Both of them lost winners round 1. Gray lost to Lil Silo, and Indestructible Mushu lost to Leo, so they each lost to a top 8 player from that tournament. Then both of them won 3 rounds of losers and got out at 9th out of 36 in the tournament. They tied for 9th place. And if they had each won the round that they got out in, they would have played each other the next round. So just a interesting little additional fact there. Our next honorable mention is going to be Fred or Nico at #RemoveUltimateOnline. So 2 reasons that these didn't make the top 10 list. Fred's run, it's pretty good, but it does include a DQ. And then Nico's run wasn't quite as long as Fred's was. So Nico got out in winners round 2, then won 3 rounds to make it to top 8 before losing to I'm Dan Fox. Fred also lost winners round 2, then won 2 rounds and made it into top 8, but she did make it into top 8 on a forfeit. But then Fred did win her first round in top 8, so she got out at 5th. Then our next group of runs is going to be Biffy J and Superfly Pastor Guy's daughter at the Decline and Fall of Outside Drift 3. So both of them lost winners round 1, which is surprising because they're both pretty good players. Then Biffy J beat Nico and Abu, though Abu then beat him later on in losers semis and placed higher in the tournament. And Superfly Pastor Guy's daughter beat Hot Cocoa. Both of them won 4 rounds of losers, and both got out in loser semis, with Biffy J getting 7th and Superfly Pastor Guy's daughter getting 8th out of 24 at that tournament. Then our final run in the honorable mentions category is going to be Nico at the Decline and Fall of Outside Drift 4. So he lost winners round 1 to Theophilus, who was a newcomer at this tournament, and Yito Burrito. He then won 4 rounds of losers, plus advanced through an additional round on a DQ before getting out in losers 8ths to King D and Gingerhead Man. Overall, he got 13th at this tournament that had over 40 players at it. So our number 10 spot is going to be Nico at the Decline and Fall of Outside Drift, the original one. Here's our losers bracket, or a copy of it, that we have from the original tournament. And as you can see, it's very weird. It was like the first large-scale kind of tournament that we hosted here. Didn't completely know what we were doing. So it was a double elimination tournament. The way it worked out, if you lost twice, you were out of the tournament. But as you can see, this is all the people who lost winners round 1. This is the people who lost winners round 2. We had them all play each other till there was only 2 people left from each round. And then they played each other in a game, and the people who lost winners round 3 ended up here. And then it was a smaller tournament, so winners round 4 was winners finals, and the losers from that ended up obviously in losers finals. So as you can see, Nico lost his winners round 1. Here he is. So he lost to Abu and King D, who would get 4th and 5th in the tournament, so pretty good players. Then Nico won 3 rounds of losers to get into losers semis. He won 1, 2, 3. In this round had a tiebreaker with Peach, who actually, Peach in this tournament was Superfly Pastor Guy's daughter, who we were just talking about at TD Food 3. Nico won this tiebreaker, made it into losers finals, and then got 6th place overall in the tournament. He got 4th place in losers finals. Number 9 will be Green Death at our 4v4 tournament, which you just saw the title of. It's long, and I'm not going to say it again. But they lost their winners round 1. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see it better. Let's see. They lost their winners round 1 to VLaD, who went on to win the tournament. So they ended up in the losers bracket. Oh, wow, that's cool. That highlights all the text. Didn't know that. So they lost their winners round 1 to the people who would win the tournament. Then you can see they won 3 rounds of losers. They beat Meteors, Smasheroonie, and Mad Smashers. And then they lost to my team in losers finals. So that's a pretty good run. This was a crazy tournament. I mean, making it through that many rounds of losers is pretty good. It was the only 4v4 tournament we've ever done, and it was just super chaotic. To be able to consistently advance in that tournament was pretty impressive. And let's see, if we go down here, it looks like Green Death was Soupman. Oh, she got a shout out in the last video. So it was Soupman, Indestructible Mushu, who we just talked about, Night Fury, and Anonymous on that team. Number 8, the Ruthless Bennett at Funky Kong is overrated. And here we see the legendary Funky Kong is overrated winners who lost bracket, because I was up setting up for this tournament super late the night before and I got distracted and I just labeled both brackets Funky Kong is overrated winners. So once we caught that mistake, this bracket became the winners who lost instead of the losers bracket. But this was the very first Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament we did, and the Ruthless Bennett was actually, in this tournament, is what she entered as. That is nowadays Mr. Spiffy, who has won editions 3 and 4 of Funky Kong is overrated. So at this point in time, she lost her winners round 2 game to Princess Di and Uncle Ginger. And then, let's find her. The Ruthless Bennett, she won 4 rounds of losers to make it into grand finals. Along the way, she beat Ace G, who was Goldfish right here. Ace G, another top MK8DX player, and Nico, who has been pretty good at the tournaments that he has played 8 Deluxe in. And she also beat both of the people who sent her to losers in the first place. She beat Princess Di in the losers finals right here, and she beat Uncle Ginger in her losers round 3. And then in this tournament, she ended up finishing 4th overall, got 4th place in grand finals, and this is the only tournament that she has not gotten 1st or 2nd place in. Next up is Lieb at CU Wouldn't Want to SSBU, and honestly this was super close in my opinion with the Ruthless Bennett at Funky Kong is overrated. I would say the Ruthless Bennett beat better people, which made it comparable to this run where Lieb didn't beat as many good people, but she did advance through more rounds overall. Did also place overall higher in the tournament because she got 2nd place and the Ruthless Bennett got 4th, but they were both in grand finals, so they did actually both make it to the last round of the tournament. Just in our Mario Kart tournaments, there will be 4 people in grand finals. So Lieb had a first round bye, and then she won her first round of winners, lost in winners round 3, placing her right here in losers round 3. She then won 5 rounds to get into grand finals and lost to Leo, getting 2nd overall in the tournament. Number 6, we talked about last video, Hot Coco's legendary losers run at the Decline and Fall of Outside Drift 5. So she lost her winners round 2 right here to Glack and Stay at Home. She then made it to round 4 of the losers bracket, just the way the bracket feeds in. Obviously, if you lose winners round 1, you'll end up in losers round 1. But then if you just make it that one extra round and lose in winners round 2, you end up in losers round 4 on the losers bracket. So Hot Cocoa made it here. She won 5 sets in a row. She beat Abu and Theophilus along the way, and then she got out in losers finals to Princess Di and Glack, still beating Gingerhead Man though, so that is 3 really good players she beat on her journey, and she got 5th place overall in the tournament. The 5th place spot on this list will go to Honey Badger at Get Busy Hitting or Get Busy DIing. So he lost his winners round 2 set to King D, who would eventually get 3rd place in the tournament. And then in losers bracket, he beat your boy Lucas, Nico, Air Force, Indestructible Mushu, and JBB to make it into losers semis. So after winning 5 sets in a row, he got out in 4th place out of 32 players at this tournament. Also, just see if anyone knows this player, Air Force. This is a known player at several VLaD FIDE tournaments, only entered under the name Air Force 1 time. That was at this tournament. If anyone knows who it is, comment down below. I'll also add that I almost included this run on the list of standout performances, because Honey Badger isn't someone who we would have considered a top Smash player at the time, and he got 4th place out of 32, so pretty good. The only reason I didn't include this in the standout performances is because he had previously already gotten a top 8, so we knew he was capable of it after he got 7th place at Everybody Loves Evan, Bella, and Joseph. But still, this run is a little better because he got 4th place at a bigger tournament than the one where he got 7th. Number 4, we have a 3-way tie, but I will say overall I'll give this to Serial above Theophilus and Syndrome, and I'll say why in a minute. So these were all seeded players, so I expected them to all make it into winners finals, and they lost their winners round 2 sets, seriously making me doubt my ability to seed players for my tournaments. But then anyway, they won 3 rounds of losers. Each of them advanced through 3 rounds in losers to get into grand finals. And then Serial won the first set of grand finals, making a player from the losers bracket win it to reset the bracket and play a second set of grand finals. So even though Theophilus did place the highest out of these 3 players overall, getting 3rd place, I've got to give the best part of this run to Serial, since he was the one that allowed that second set of grands to happen. Even though I think Serial's run was a little more impressive than Theophilus's at Funky Kong is Overrated 4, right afterwards, in the same day, Theophilus made the longest losers run in VLaD history at the Decline and Fall of Outside Drift 5. The only reason this is at 3rd place instead of higher on the list is because he did not beat as many good players as our number 1 spot did, and he did not finish as high in the tournament as our number 1 or 2 spot did. So Theophilus lost his winners round 1, good way to start a very long losers run, and ended up right here. He won 7 rounds in a row before getting out in losers semis right here to Hot Cocoa and Princess Di. He did beat Princess Di in losers quarters, but then ended up losing to her here. Finished ahead of Abu, and then also finished ahead of WogChamp. So in all the TD Food tournaments we've ever had, we've had 5 of them, there have only been 16 different players who have finished in 8th place or better across all 5 tournaments, and only 7 people who have ever made it into grand finals. So WogChamp, Princess Di, and Abu are the only players that have made a top 8 before who Theophilus beat. But then he did also beat Abu and Princess Di, who are 2 players who have made it into a grands before. And here's our number 2 spot. This is going to be PW's, or Prince Waffles, at Everybody Loves Evan, Bella, and Joseph. This was a impromptu tournament, and so all we had to really scratch the bracket down on was some computer paper. It did not all fit on one sheet. So as you can see, this is side 1 of losers, it says up here. And this is where it started. And PW's came in right here after losing his winners round 2 to Dog Fox, who is presently known as I'm Dan Fox. He won 6 rounds of losers and also advanced through losers round 4 right here. Monk forfeited, so he did advance on a DQ. So really made it through 7 rounds of losers, making it as long as Theophilus is. Only difference is Theophilus actually played through and won all his matches. PW's got 1 bye round. So this showed up on the other sheet. We made it to loser semis. So he won 1, 2, then 3, 4, 1 loser semis, 1 losers finals, and then finished second in the tournament, which had 25 players. And at the time, it was the biggest VLaD tournament. He also beat Dog Fox, who sent him to losers originally. He beat JBB, who was one of our top players. And then in losers finals, he beat Princess Di. All right, let's talk about the greatest losers run in VLaD history. And this is going to be King D at the Decline and Fall of Outside Drift 4. When I was making my rankings for this tournament, there was never a time that this was not number 1 on my list. So this was a super hype tournament. We were back after a year off, not having a TD Food tournament in 2021. This was the first tournament that we streamed, or the first Mario Kart tournament that we streamed anyway. And this was the most stacked bracket that we have ever had. So in all of the TD Food tournaments, all 5 of them, like we said last time, there have only been 16 players that ever got top 8 or better, and 13 of them were in attendance at this tournament. Also, all 7 people who have ever gotten into grand finals before or after this tournament, everybody was there. So obviously, we're going to have a lot of good players running into each other early in bracket. So in winners quarters, King D got out to Triple D, and I'm Dan Fox came to losers right here. And then he played 5 rounds of losers to get into grand finals. In that run, he finished 2nd overall in the tournament. So from going to here to finishing 2nd overall, he beat Drift King, Nico, Gert, Abu, Gingerhead Man, Triple D, Johnny Ice, Princess Di, Glack, and I'm Dan Fox. And that list right there is why he is on the top of this list today. All right, that's our list for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for watching the VLaD Tournament Review Series. And thank you to all of the players who made these runs happen. So, honorable mentions, here we go. Even though these didn't make the actual top 10 list, there is still a good amount to talk about right here. And my laundry's done.